Welcome back to another episode of Dingle DIY. This is going to be one of the last videos on the Hilux. Today I'll be talking all about mods in general. We've been talking a lot about modifications you can do to the engine, cooling, supporting mods. Now I just want to go over some modifications in general that you can do to your car to get better performance, better economy, better reliability, specifically off-road, and some four-wheel driving mods. And some things I've done aesthetically, comfort-wise, and things that help me work out of this car. I'm a carpenter. This is my work car. It's also my four-wheel drive, so I pretty much live my life out of this car, whether I'm at work or whether I'm camping. I just want to show you some things I've done and use it as a good example for you as well, just to show you what kind of mods you can do and what ones I've found are most useful and worthwhile. So if you haven't seen my other videos, there is a resistor mod video and a supporting mods and cooling video. Now those are some things you want to do if you want to get better performance out of your car and keep it reliable. All the things I did to keep this car operating at a proper temperature were just so that I could wind up the boost. I mean, more boost pressure is more power, more fuel is more power with a diesel especially. So everything like the intercooler, fans, hubs, airflow, scoops, and general maintenance, they were all to support the more boost that I've wound into this car using a boost T. And that's about it for performance with what I've done. Now you can put on bigger fuel pumps, better turbos, but that is a different can of worms. And you can also tune these cars, which personally I haven't done any of those things, and that's pretty much where I'm going to leave that. Now some mods you can do for fuel economy would be freewheeling hubs, reducing the weight as much as possible, a cold air intake, new wheel bearings, more boost, and an intercooler. And the one thing that really surprised me was a brand new viscous hub. It just meant that the fan wasn't spinning as much as it had to, but it would definitely spin when it needed to, and that's just saved me a lot on fuel. Putting an exhaust on this car is actually going to go a long way as well to getting you better economy, keeping the engine colder, and it's a good avenue to go down if you're looking for more power as well. A good flowing engine is going to have good power and good economy depending on how you're driving it. So next I want to talk about four-wheel driving mods and the things I've done to this car to make it more capable off-road. Starting with a 2-inch lift, I've used aftermarket rear springs and ball joint spacers in the front because this car has torsion bars, and that's given me a 2-inch lift, which has allowed me to fit 33-inch tires to that as well. And that combination is great for me. It's a perfect happy medium, I think, between off-road capability, daily driving, and reliability as well. Now some other things I've done as well would be a front auto locker. Now I wouldn't go putting one of those in your car unless you've got freewheeling hubs, which you can lock in and lock out, depending on what you need, because as much as it is a front locker, it's permanently locked, and it's better described as an auto unlocker when it needs to, so otherwise it's just always locked and it can make steering a bit difficult off-road. So the option to unlock one of your wheels is good because then the locker will just spin both CVs, but it'll only be spinning one wheel and it'll make turning easier, and then if you need to lock the second hub in, get yourself out of a pickle, you can do that as well. Now because I have lifted this car 2 inches, I've also installed a diff drop to correct the CV angles. It's going to stop them from wearing out as quickly, and just reduces the chances of breaking them off-road. So I highly recommend if you're going to do a 2-inch lift, make sure you do a diff drop to go with it, because when I hadn't done the diff drop and this car was lifted, I broke about 3 or 4 CVs, and since doing the diff drop I haven't broken a single one. Now while we're on the topic of suspension, I'll touch bases on brakes as well. Everything is factory in this car when it comes to brakes, except I've installed braided brake lines in the front. It just gives you better braking response. There's less energy wasted in expanding rubber hoses because the braided ones don't expand, so more of that foot energy that you apply to the brake pedal is going to go into the brakes as opposed to getting lost in the brake lines. Now they're also much more durable, so they're bush-proof, better braking performance. I think they're a great bang for buck upgrade. I've also installed some diff breathers, so I can do water crossings and things like that without any water getting into the factory diff breathers, which are at a lower height. Now I have had this car for quite a while, and I have ended up putting some polyurethane bushes in. When I bought the rear leafs, they already came with polyurethane bushes, and the front upper control arms now have aftermarket polyurethane ones in there. They're just going to give you better handling, and they last for a lot longer compared to the factory rubber style ones. And I did relocate the washer bottle for the nozzles that spray water on the windshield. The factory one was in the wheel well, and after full driving a few times, my wheel had rubbed through that factory washer bottle. So I did end up buying a metal one off eBay. It was pretty generic, and slapped it in the engine bay well out of the way of the wheels. So that's not an issue anymore. My wheels aren't scrubbing on anything, which is great. So very happy with that little mod. Now if you want to clean up the engine a bit, definitely do an EGR delete. My car never actually had EGR, which is exhaust gas recirculation. Never had that. I don't know why. It is one of the more modern engines and one of the newer 1KZs. You don't need it, it's an emissions thing, but everyone just gets rid of them because they're complex, they leak, and they just create issues over time. So if you have an EGR, either block it off or remove it entirely. And another thing you can do is install a catch can. That's just going to stop any oil getting back into the intake system and give your engine an easier time, a longer life, and it's just a good thing to do, especially considering how cheap they are these days. Some other things that I've done to this car to make it more enjoyable to drive, easier to drive, and just better to use as a camping and touring setup. I've done a lot of work with lighting on this thing. There is a light bar. I have smoked the front headlights and indicators and parkers. Now, it's not going to make the lighting any better, but I think it looks really great. And I have put some high output H4 bulbs in the headlights. Because I have blacked them out, the light doesn't reflect as much inside the headlight, and so the beam output isn't as great as it used to be, and that's why I've upgraded those lights. But that combined with the light bar, I'm sweet. Now on the rear of the vehicle, I've got a reverse camera which links up to the stereo that I've put in, which is a touchscreen double din display. Now I've also wired in a relay so that when the reverse camera is on, some really small light bars at the back of the car light up, and it just really helps me see things better on the camera when I'm doing, any reversing at nighttime. Now inside the car I've got a UHF, pretty decent stereo, just some upgraded speakers, head unit and a subwoofer in the back, as well as an amplifier to run it. Other modifications inside would just be a phone holder and some gauges, which include EGT, boost and water temperature. Now one little nicety that I've put in there, which I quite like doing to all my cars, is a bass knob. It's just basically, it is what it is. It's a knob that you can turn to adjust how much the subwoofer is working, and sometimes you want to turn it down, sometimes you want to turn it up, and it's just great to have that option. So the last few things to talk about are the awning. That is a 270-degree awning. I'm absolutely loving that thing. It's so much better than just that single length of an awning that's just a roof. Having it wrap around the whole car has really made camping a lot more enjoyable. And I've also done some other little fiddly things that you might not notice, such as modernizing the wipers. I just changed the wiper arms. I have done window tint, and anything else I'm sure it's not too important. So with accessories and 12 volt, I do have a fridge in the back of the car. I've also got a battery box, which I've made a video on, and I even have a third battery, which was spare. It turns out to be in working condition. So there is 3 batteries in this car. There is a DC to DC charger charging the 2 auxiliary batteries, and I do have a 1500 watt inverter, which is great for charging my power tool batteries, charging laptops, camera gear, all kinds of things depending where I am and what I'm doing. Very happy with that setup. If you haven't seen that video of me building the fridge slide and the timber fridge cage, because obviously if your car's packed to the rafters and you pull your fridge out, you don't want everything to collapse in behind the fridge and then you can't close your fridge. So that's why I built the cage around it. I built it out of timber because it's cheap, affordable, and I'm a carpenter, so that's my thing. Really happy with it. I really recommend doing that. I don't really feel the need to buy a big expensive alloy one. I was just happy to make my own. So in conjunction with the 12 volt system, I have upgraded the wiring and I've put a few circuit breakers in. I did relocate my battery so that basically the airbox and the battery swap places. It's just seemed better from a cooling perspective, because as it was before, the air from the airbox would cross over the engine into the turbo, out of the turbo, back into the inlet manifold. So now it's all on one side of the vehicle. There's less air crossing over the hot engine. It just seems more efficient. And so the battery has been relocated. And with that, I've upgraded the wiring. I've put circuit breakers in and just made that a lot more reliable, considering I'm demanding a bit more out of it now. I did add a roof rack very early on because I need to carry timber, and then I did end up making my own extension which bolts to the bull bar, and that allows me to carry 6 meter lengths or even bigger. So this is how I have my car set up when I'm working. The fridge stays in all the time, and I've just got a toolbox here, and then I keep the rest of my tools on the back seat if I need to. Now up here is a light, gets the job done, and then there are some blue lights for party mode, just because I can. Now through this side behind the fridge, we've got the inverter, the battery box, which I've built in a previous video, and then underneath that chipboard is the other battery and some spare parts. I just use this for storage. I don't really access underneath there. Now the inverter works great. I can charge my batteries on the way home or the way to work. And I think that's just really great, always having charged batteries. Very happy with that. Now these here are my roof rack extensions. They're collapsible and they're telescopic, and depending on how much timber I need to pick up, I can use the whole thing or just one section of it. So this roof rack extension goes together really easily. It's just got a locating pin here. It goes in that hole down there, and then a U-bolt to bolt over the bull bar into this piece. Now of course there's a shovel and high lift jack mount. That's everything I've done to this car. The things I haven't done are the turbo upgrade, a fuel pump upgrade, and a winch pretty much. Now I'm sure you can get carried away with, you know, all kinds of rooftop tents and showers and accessories like that, but as far as typical mods, that's about it. That's all I've done. I don't really plan on doing anything else. Maybe a winch. It's not high on my priority list, but if I do get a winch, then that'd pretty much be it for modifications that I want to do on this car. Alright, thanks for watching this episode, guys. Join me next time where I go full driving up in the Grampians with some mates. Hope you enjoy that video when you see it. And after that, we'll be moving on to another Corolla video. I've been doing some work on that lately, gotten it to the point where I'm happy with it. And then after that, we'll be back into some construction where I'll be making over a former employer of mine. His house needs a lot of love, so he's got me on board there. We'll make over his house and keep the ball rolling from there. So if you're keen to see those videos, subscribe. Otherwise, thanks for watching and we'll see you next time.